So we're live now. I'm gonna just tweet it out and we can get started. I have my friend Katie Jayne Earl on here. She's been one of my longtime mutuals, so I brought her on here and she'll join us just for some casual discussion. And then you guys know Alice by now. She pretty much my co-host in a way.
I'm always
She always here to join on, and that's pretty much what I tell people. I'm a citizen journalist, and I want to give the mic to as many people as possible because I've been blessed with this platform. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to have a voice and be heard. So, Katie, how you feel today? How you feeling?
Just surviving in the new world one day at a time. Every day is overwhelming, but I'm also super grateful to have a roof over my head and to be able to connect with so many like-minded folks. And it's strange times, to say the least. It feels even redundant to say that because everybody already knows it.
Yeah,
But what can you do?
man, I'm like worried about all my California comrades because
right.
um, it's on fire over there. Like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Because I'm just seeing the
It's
pictures. I'm in the
crazy.
Midwest, and what I see, like, we get tornadoes every once in a while, and our seasons get a little bit more awkward, but we don't really deal with the kind of crazy stuff that I see you guys deal with. So, how are you hanging in
Yeah,
there so far with the California heat wave
it's
going on right
really
now?
interesting. It's really interesting because the fires aren't terribly close, but the air quality is just so bad.
Yeah,
So I feel like a lot of, my personal struggle through it, which I'm sure a lot of people probably can relate to, is that through this kind of pandemic, we're trying to stay home, we're trying to, honor the severity of the contagiousness as much as we can. And part of the mental health balance has been able to get outside sometimes, you know
right.
and now it's like the air quality is super super poor, so getting outside poses it's a whole new risk now. So it's kind of like just been staying inside as much as I can, and trying to filter the air through the apartment. But hopefully we'll get a little breeze or some rain to clear it out. This just feels really stagnant, and it's wild. I mean, it's intense. I feel deeply for people experiencing homelessness right now. There's so many of them. I'm in the heart of Hollywood, and the numbers are staggering. So I really feel for those folks, and I just sympathize and empathize so much. And there's no escape from the air quality for those folks. So
Yeah.
I worry about them for sure. But they survived the heat wave last week. Hopefully this will be over soon and we can start, getting back to demanding change for them.
Yeah, I'm like terrified. 'Cause what exactly are they doing with the massive amount of homeless population out there? Because I know that's something that's dear to your heart, and we talked about that, and that's something that you focus on, and that's something I think a lot of people ignore, and I think it's beyond the pale that we have leadership that
Yeah.
don't acknowledge that homelessness exists, and the reason why they do that because homeless people tend not to donate to their campaign. They tend
Well,
not
yeah,
to
they
go
don't
out
Yeah.
and
have.
vote. They don't have
Right.
political power.
They
And
don't vote and they don't donate. And so, why would they care?
right. So it's like when I see these screenshots of people showing me that it's 112 degrees out there. And as a Midwestern boy, let me tell you, Katie, I am
I
not
would just straight up
I
die.
am not used to that. Like 100 degrees is like it's insanely hot. Like we have people passing out, people going to
Yeah.
hospital when it's 100 degrees. So
Yeah.
how do you guys deal with that day, especially when you have a governor and you have pretty much your government telling you that you gotta have your thermostat at what, like 78 in California? Like how do you guys survive that day? That's
It's pretty
crazy.
crazy. There's also a really big problem with rolling blackouts. I don't fully understand the problem with the power grid out here, but on those days when everybody's running their AC and everybody everybody's home right now. You know, there's still a lot of businesses that are closed, so everybody's watching TV, using the internet, running AC, and the power grids can't handle it sometimes. So like that's a whole other issue. Um, California is so great in so many ways. Our leadership is as much as you can read about,
Yeah.
they might be doing this well and they might be doing this well. When you go outside, it just it's not reflective. You know what I mean? There's still far too many homeless people. The air quality is terrible. The wealth distribution is disgusting. And so, you know, there's no reflection of positive work um, like anywhere else. I think something that I've noticed that is interesting and something about my unique perspective that has made the homeless crisis feel so urgent to me is up until COVID in March, I have been touring the country full time. And for the last 10 years, and over the last 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, and then over the last 2018, 2019, you know, you see this problem rising all over the country. It's not just a Los Angeles problem anymore. And I don't hear either candidate talking about it.
Right.
There was, you know, one candidate I think anybody heard ever talking about it. And I think that people are really underestimating the severity of this crisis and how bad it's actually going to get. I read something like 40 million people are facing eviction this year, on
Yes.
top of the 50 million that are already experiencing homelessness. So, you know, I just feel like there's an urgency and a severity to this crisis that doesn't seem to get the attention that I feel like it really needs. And there's empty buildings everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's more houses and apartments than there are homeless people. Like we could house every single person like that.
Exactly.
Amen. Amen.
Exa-
And that's something that I just, you know, I don't really know how I alone can fix it other than talking to anybody I can about it. You know, I've
Right.
written letters to our councilman who's in charge of this area. This area I live in is particularly bad, you know, but what does writing letters do? All I can think to do is make it a bigger issue to other people. And
That's all we
hopefully
can do.
that's all we can do. You know, we've got voices, but
Yeah. We are a functioning oligarchy, and despite
mhm.
the massive will to do things like Medicare for all, and I look at California, I look at your state in particular, and it is very, very tragic because California has a Democratic supermajority, and it's one of the most progressive states in the
Oh, but
nation.
just vote,
And
it'll fix it.
and you have 89% Democrats support Medicare for all. Vast majority of independents support Medicare for all. Why don't California have Medicare for all? Why is California
we
ruled
yeah,
by dinosaur neoliberals like Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein, despite being one of the most progressive states in the nation? So when I look at the results of California, when I look at the massive income inequality, when I look at the poverty in California, I'm not impressed by the Democratic Party because I'm like, this is what you guys do when there's no opposition party against you, when there's no
you're
Republicans you can blame it
absolutely
on.
right.
Go ahead,
You're
Katie.
absolutely right. You know, I know a lot of people from all of, you know, different states, red states, blue states. When Trump supporters, I've talked to a number of them. You know, when they bring up things like what you just brought up, you know, you have no argument. The other side has no
Exactly.
argument.
She shut it
Uh,
down real quick.
exactly. And I think that, you know, people really don't want to talk about the flaws within the Democratic Party right now because they're so desperate to beat Trump, as you've mentioned so many times, Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
They think that if Trump is out, then the problems are fixed. But, you know, like I said, I think that this crisis didn't start in 2016, at least for the
Yes.
homelessness. I've been seeing it for about 8 years, 10 years, steadily getting worse. So it's not all the president's fault always. It's got to be
Yes.
those Dianne Feinsteins and those, people that
Yeah.
are meant to be protecting and caring for the state itself.
And that's why I call him out by name. And it's
You
easy to
have to.
claim. It's easy to blame the monkey in charge, the monkey in the suit on top. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
lot of responsibility lies on him. I put a lot of blame on Trump for a lot of what's going on. The same
Amen.
way I put a lot of blame on Barack Obama. But if you're not putting any blame on Nancy Pelosi for what's going on right now, you are not paying attention to the current political
Right.
landscape.
For real. And
Because
she's funding everything that Trump
Yeah.
wants. Like, she's not
yes,
opposition.
she's funding what he
And
wants
you,
and fighting against everything that her constituents want. Like
Mhm.
we want a 2,000 a month UBI in the middle of this pandemic. You know who don't want that? Nancy Pelosi. Nancy
Well, yeah, she's
no, I
Pelosi
rich.
mean,
agrees with Trump on this.
yeah,
Like
She's rich. She'll be fine. Why would she care about us?
that's
Nancy
exactly
Pelosi and
right.
Trump are closer on the political compass than I am with Nancy Pelosi. Do you got?
Oh,
I
I
want
by
people to
also,
understand that they are
I also think
closer.
Pelosi has never been more of a celebrity than when she opposes Trump. She stands up and rips something up and everybody goes, "Yes, queen." And it's like
Yes,
it is advantageous for her. She gets to keep her money because he protects the rich, and she's never been more celebrated than when she opposes him. So, honestly, he's fucking great for her career.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yep,
I don't really think the Democrats even really want Biden to win, because
They don't care either way.
if they have 4 more Trump, they can fundraise saying like this is awful and we need to get him out still. If they
yeah,
have
Yeah.
Biden in, who are they going to start blaming besides McConnell?
No,
I guess?
exactly.
But
yeah.
Exactly. And those Trump folks, part of what I think accelerated Trump in 2016 was the disdain, the rightful disdain that the right
Yes,
had for Hillary Clinton.
Mhm.
And
yes,
those folks have that same level of fear and disdain for Pelosi. It's the
exactly.
same, it's the same energy.
And they should. And they should. And one
yeah,
thing
that
that a
one's
lot of liberals
justified.
don't realize that Nancy Pelosi, when I see her and when I see what her politics represent and how she carries herself, I see a female Democrat Donald Trump. Like what's the difference? Like I remember, like speaking of
Yeah.
climate change, like there was climate activists that was there were climate activists that went after Dianne Feinstein, and Dianne Feinstein went after them in one of the most horrific, demeaning ways. And then you had immigration activists that went after Nancy Pelosi. I want to see if I can find that video, because it's a classic, because it shows the level of contempt that Nancy Pelosi has towards the working class, towards anyone who would challenge the Democratic Party, and towards real activists who want to get stuff done. And
Yep.
they were to challenge her on the issue of immigration and the DACA program, and she was telling them shut up, like she was telling them they're out of line. And I remember, like we talk about the climate crisis in California right now. The Sunrise Movement had a big event where they were protesting Dianne Feinstein, and if you listen to the way Feinstein was treating these young activists,
Oh,
you
I
do you
saw
see
the
that video?
disrespect.
I
I
want to
mean,
find that and pull that up. I want people to see this, because this is Trumpian. Like when you see how she's talking to
there's
them, like it's
no
gross.
respect.
Let
No
me see if I can
respect
find
for the
it.
people that have to inherit the country.
Oh yeah, they don't care. They're going to be dead in 10 years.
No respect.
They don't even care about their own kids half the time. Like, I don't understand how you can even live like that.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
sick.
like,
But it's when you talk about California, another really interesting thing is that California itself has I think like the 5th or 7th largest economy in the world.
Fifth, if it was alone, yeah.
Has its own
right.
sustainable economy, and really could be this example. It's like we could be this example of putting that foot forward, reinvesting all of it, and we don't.
California is like the perfect example of poverty being a political choice, because
Oh yeah.
California has the resources easily within its top 1% alone to end homelessness, and they choose not to. they choose to
every
fund
day.
these deeply unserious, massive police budgets. Well, I shouldn't call them deeply unserious because they have a goal. Their goal is to lock up black people for prison slave labor, so they do have a purpose. But at the same time,
Yeah.
they spend money on that while leaving people homeless. So let me big screen this because this is like, how does this video clip not radicalize anyone beyond me? Can y'all hear that?
And we're gonna do it all together.
I can't hear it, no.
Feinstein.
No.
We're asking her to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Oh, I had it muted.
I'll
Now
tell
I
you
can.
what. We have our own Green New Deal.
Some scientists
Meanwhile, California's on
have
fire.
said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not
The
going to get
government's
turned
supposed-
around in
the-
10 years.
the
What we
government's
can
supposed
do
Senator, if
is
this
put
doesn't get turned
ourselves-
around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these
Guess what?
consequences.
The government
And-
is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all
You know
for the
what's
They taking
interesting
her to
about this
school.
group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know
And we're
what
in
I'm
a
doing.
disaster because of
You come in here.
You
and
know,
say
she
it
knows
has
what
to
she's
be
doing.
my
Hold
way
up.
or the highway. I don't respond.
Hold
to that.
hold up. Because I don't mean to interrupt this thing so much, but look at the level of disdain that she's
It's-
showing.
She fucking hates those kids.
I'm about to let it
She
finish
actually hates
here.
them.
But we have kids that are participating in government.
You know,
Something that- Go ahead, Katie.
you bring up a point of this phony we love the kids and we care about the kids thing. It's like, it is such a political tact, right, to pretend you give a shit, but when it comes time to actually make choices for those same kids, you've got this woman and this face and this reaction.
And
Unreal.
And she lays out the problem there. She says she's been doing this for 30 years.
And what do you have to show for it?
Like, you just told on yourself.
Look around.
So you've been in charge of California for 30 years, and the result of that is we have a neoliberal hellhole in California.
We have a
Beautiful
homeless
people.
kid that's on fire.
Beautiful people, corrupt government that is ruining
Amen.
what California could
Amen.
be. California could be a paradise, son.
I couldn't agree more.
If you had leadership like Cori Bush from the bottom up, if you had AOCs, if you had Bernie Sanders, if you had Nina Turner's, if you had Brianna Joy Gray's, if you had those
What a
leadership in
world.
California, with that
What a
amount
world.
of resources, can you imagine what could have been possible? So
It's amazing.
I want people to realize that when Dianne Feinstein talk about the amount of leadership she has in government, how long she's been doing this. Let me back it up and let me play it, because, like I said, I wanted to play it through without interrupting, but
The
my
government
blood
is
was
supposed
boiling.
to be for the people and by the people and all
You know
for the
what's
people.
interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that.
No, you say that.
I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was
She just
elected
got
by
elected.
almost
Oh
a
my-
million vote plurality.
Who gives
And
a
I know what
fuck?
I'm doing.
That doesn't make
So,
you
you know,
They
know what you're
don't
doing.
know.
people should
Like, I seen
listen
this, like,
a
I
little
seen
bit.
this video before, and I still fucking rage at it. Like, I know what's coming. That's how bad this is. Like, people want to say that. Like, I get it. Trump is awful. I don't like Trump either. Trump
Terrible.
repulses me. But you want to tell me that Trump is unique? Look at her. Look at Dianne Feinstein. Look at this garbage. You want to tell me that Trump is better than her? What?
You know, it's fucked up because I feel like, Republicans are fucking evil. They're
Yes.
so like they're like comic book villain evil. But
Exactly.
like I know that snake is a snake, right? But like the
Right.
Democrats pretend they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
but
then
they
the media-
still are.
It's so frustrating.
And if you want to get rid of Trump because you're scared of Trump, just say that. But when you want to pretend that Joe Biden's a decent guy, I mean, while we watching
What
videos,
else will you pretend?
I can pull the clip where Joe Biden was yelling at immigration activists that showed up at his event where he told them to vote for Trump.
It
So
also
it's like I can get
scares me
started. I can keep
because
going. I can go with this all day. I mean, I'm
It
halfway
also-
through this
Campaign.
video. I'm
it's
halfway through this
dangerous and
video.
it's scary because if people are willing to pretend that somebody is something they're not just to win, what else will you pretend? You know what I mean? Will you pretend that Hitler's great? Will you pretend that fucking Joe Stalin is cool because he's going against somebody you hate more? Like, where do
They
you draw
would.
the line if
They
you
would.
can't be honest with yourself?
They would 100% nominate Mussolini for a nomination.
You know what I mean?
All he had to do was run an anti-Trump ad, run an anti-Trump Twitter page, and they would 100% be on board with Mussolini.
Exactly.
So let me see if we can finish
and I
this.
think that's scary.
Let's see if we
I
can
think
finish
that's
this.
a dangerous thing.
Cause we made it approximately 70 seconds in before I rage quit twice. So
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched this whole video.
I've seen it before. Like, it still pisses me off.
And I know what I'm doing.
Let's see if we can finish it.
So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your
How old are you?
job.
How
I'm
How
16.
old are you?
I
You
can't
didn't vote for me.
Well,
I'm
I didn't.
It doesn't matter. We're the ones
Well,
that be impacted.
She said, "Oh
doesn't matter.
my
We're
God,
gonna be
this
the
is
ones
worse
that
than I thought it
impacted.
was."
I understand that.
All right, I'll rage quit again. So you
I
realize
understand that.
you realize she said that you didn't vote for me. She was like, "How old are you? You didn't vote for
You
me."
didn't vote.
So
They
what's she
said we'll be
saying?
effective.
So she's saying
I guess-
that if you don't vote for her, she don't owe you shit. And these kids are not illegal age to vote. That's why she was like, how old are you? You know what? You didn't even vote for me. I don't owe you shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you kids. That's
How
what
do
she's saying.
How do people watch this shit sober? I don't get it.
Oh my, I'm not. but
Well,
this is horrific.
I'm not gonna be.
All right, so let's finish this. I'm sorry I keep rage quitting, but
No,
we
please.
made a minute.
We need to take rage breaks.
So what did you all say? I didn't interrupt you. What was your initial reaction when you saw that?
The next thing is the kid says, we're the ones that are going to be affected. And she goes, I understand that.
And
But she
don't
doesn't
give a
care enough.
fuck. Oh my, that's a good point.
And she's about to
That's a
say
good
that she
point.
cares because she has grandchildren, but she's also condemning her own grandchildren to death by doing what she's doing. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, so let's go back a few seconds and try again. All right, so that's three. Was that three rage
It
quits?
doesn't matter. We're the ones that be impacted.
Something.
It doesn't matter. We're going to be the ones that are impacted.
That's so cute.
I understand that. I have 7 grandchildren. I understand it very well.
Senator, the cost of
And-
not taking this action is far higher than the cost of what the Green New Deal will be.
Boom.
And there is
Here's what-
enormous popularity for this bill around the
Okay.
whole country.
Here's
And we're
what
asking you to
we
be
are
brave
proposing.
and do this for us and for your grandchildren.
Get enough for everyone. I'm trying to do the best I can.
You're not
Which
doing
No,
was
you're
to
not.
write a responsible resolution.
Any plan that
that
doesn't
has-
What
take
does that mean? Okay, is it over? Are we freed? It's just,
Oh god, there's still 20
full
seconds.
transformative action is not going to be what we need.
Well, you know better than I do. So I think one day you should run for the
Oh
Senate.
my God, that's what Hillary said.
But by
Why is that actually a liberal thing that they say? Come here, when we had
Yes.
that one activist went to Hillary and she was like, "Well, you should run one day." I think that's literally their
Why? So that you guys can rig it against me?
boom.
Yeah, like they don't have fair elections. That's blatantly obvious from the primaries.
So
Why? Yeah, so I can run for fun because you're not going to fucking let me win anyway?
They know
It's
how
bullshit.
can you the amount of malicious evil it takes for her to say that when she knows how rigged the system is. It's unreal. I can't
Unreal.
imagine how evil. Like if she knows she's like if she try to run against her in Senate, that she has a massive disadvantage when it comes to money and plus the fact that Dianne Feinstein has historically ran horrible negative campaigns that is funded by shadowy figures. And so it's like the chances like we had great candidates that ran against Dianne Feinstein in the past, a lot of great progressives. But they couldn't get close to breaking that firewall. It's too much.
Well, yeah,
California politics
Pelosi's
is
still not.
Just vote.
Pelosi's still not debating her challenger.
like how is that legal?
Not debating.
How is that legal?
Yeah, that should be legally required that you have to debate your opponent. Period. At least
Yeah,
once.
that does sound crazy. I guess I never took it into consideration that like a debate wasn't a mandatory part of every level of the election process.
Yeah, you'd
But
think that would be.
Yeah, I mean, the city council people who are opposing each other, the DAs who are opposing each other, everybody.
Like, there's so much we can do to overhaul the elections, and mandatory debates is one of them. Well, we definitely need to find a way to get that done. And you gotta have a way where you can have everyone in the parties can participate in the debate. Because how is it legal that Howie Hawkins, and I despise her, I despise the Libertarian Party, but Joe Jurgensen, she should be like her and Howie Hawkins should be able to debate Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The fact that they're not able to shows that we're not effective democracy. Like this is
Biden's
like,
already trying to weasel out of doing any debating whatsoever.
Yeah, he should.
Because I think his handlers know that he's gonna make an ass of himself.
Oh, that is such
Trump would
an
destroy
unfortunate,
him.
dark situation.
Trump would
My
absolutely
God.
destroy him. And I'm not saying that I agree with Trump on
No,
basically
I
anything, but he
agree
would
with you.
wipe the floor with him.
I agree with you. I remember in 2016 watching Trump debate Hillary, and I remember thinking, and I didn't hate either. I mean, I hated both of them, but it wasn't like as much as it is now.
Yeah,
And I remember thinking, oh my God, she's talking and I can't take my eyes off of him, right? Like, I'm not a fan.
Like he's a showman.
He was behind her going, scoffing at everything she said. And I just remember thinking she's losing. Like, she's losing in front of my face right now.
I was still a liberal during that election. I've since moved way further left. And even I thought, like, I don't know if Hillary really won these debates. Like, I agree with her a lot more, but it's just like...
She didn't win them.
Yeah, debating is more than just policies, unfortunately. It's like...
Yeah,
you have to be able to communicate.
I was Bernie 2016. I hated Hillary then, but...
Well, I still voted Bernie, but I was willing to hold my nose and vote for her.
I did hold my nose and vote Hillary
I did too.
in the general because, I was like, I guess I'll vote against Trump. At least I'm voting for the first woman. But now it's like you don't even have that. You can't even say at least. I mean, I guess you can say at least I'm voting for the first black woman vice, but
she's going to be president.
It doesn't feel good.
She's going to be president soon if Biden wins anyway. So
Yeah, she even said it.
She said the Harris administration today. I saw that.
Yeah, she already.
She's like, yeah, the Harris administration. Oh, and with Joe Biden, it's like.
Yeah, she already knows what time it was.
She seems like a lady who's got big plans. You know what I mean?
Like, she was groomed for years. Like Hillary and her people in the Democratic establishment, they picked her from 2017. The second that Trump won,
right after
was up next. And she knew
right after Hillary lost. They were like, "Yep, Kamala's going to be the next one."
And when
she got 0 delegates.
And when you
0.
When you do the bidding of the establishment, you fell upward. Like there's no penalty for what people who just he's fell up right now.
Yeah.
We were just about to say the exact same thing. Exactly. Like that's what happens when you lose the Democratic Party. You lose the way they want you to. Like Kamala Harris ran an embarrassing campaign. Like she had less delegates than Tulsi Gabbard. Like she had less delegates than we all had the same amount of delegates.
I was going to say I had the same amount of delegates that she had.
But what happened? She can work for VP.
So unfortunate.
So why do you think that is, Katie? Why do you think they chose her? Because I know exactly why, but it's like
why they chose Kamala?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I think that they think that. I mean, I think they think black woman is enough. I really think that that's their. They don't think about in terms of policy. They don't think in terms of the general public. I think that there's a huge underestimation of what, we talk a lot about race, but ultimately what's happening here is also a class thing, right? Like this struggling group is growing every single day, bigger and bigger. And I think that they think, oh, we can put a black woman in and it doesn't matter what the policies are. It's, we checked 2 boxes, unfortunately.
And that's been a technique that has worked for a very, very long time.
And it's unfortunate because, look, there's amazing some of the most incredible, inspiring leaders that have changed the way I view public speaking and politics are black women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
there's a black progressive takeover.
Like crazy good, I mean.
I can't wait to start working for Nina Turner 2024.
Amen.
I mean, let's just get through this shit so we can get on that.
We got canvas together one day.
Oh,
I'm bringing the whole
say
squad with me this time. I'm bringing the whole squad with me this time.
That's how I found you.
Yeah.
I
I'll
found
show
you
up
on
if they're
Twitter
still
because
actually.
you posted your story about how you didn't give a shit about politics until Bernie Sanders taught you that you deserved a better life, just like so many of us. And then you fucking went out and canvassed for him.
Yeah.
And you canvassed in the state that got robbed.
Yeah.
And you had spent,
and I tell people what happens.
Funds.
Yeah.
I just felt a real like connection to you in that. And I felt like I had been wanting to canvas out there so badly. And I had actually been making kind of plans for where I could go and canvas. And then I just was so heartbroken. I was like, fuck, this guy literally, like, for the first time ever got involved in the political system in the most corrupt moment of this whole thing.
Yep.
And it was like, my heart just felt for you. And we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate that. And I remember you was one of my OG mutuals back then who showed me a lot of love. And there are a lot of people back then. I won't forget you guys. And that's why you're one of the people that I brought on here, because I appreciate that, because I felt like I had to do something now. And
you were on the ground for us.
Yeah. It was like I said, it was a great experience, because I talked to people on the ground. So like, man, I don't buy none of the media narratives and all that stuff to surround it, because anyone that was there, they can tell you that anyone that was actually on the ground, whether you was in Nevada, California, whether you in Texas, whether you in Michigan, South Carolina, we all say this primary was fraudulent because we saw what happened on the ground. Like, we see the media manipulation. We saw the fact that Joe Biden had no one doing campaign groundwork. We just saw the media carried his campaign, and a lot of people don't really understand the blow that Jim Clyburn did to us in South Carolina. That can't be overstated, because like the amount of actual work we put down there in South Carolina, like the amount of doors we knocked on, and the fact that we even got delegates out of that state despite Bernie's performance in 2016, we put on a massive showing. And then despite that, because there was a point in polls where Bernie Sanders was only like 4 points away from Joe Biden in South Carolina. A lot of people don't remember that. And then the Clyburn endorsement happened, and then in the middle of a media blackout for Bernie Sanders, like, they blacked him out, and then they gave Joe Biden billions of dollars of free advertisement. A lot of people don't understand what that does in the middle of a primary. Like, campaigns spend their entire resources to get these kind of exposure, and Joe Biden got it for free. And there was
that's how Trump won in 2016 as well. The news wouldn't shut up about him.
Yeah, and at the same time,
the news gave it to him. Lorne Michaels is I blame Lorne Michaels a lot for Trump, because Lorne Michaels put Trump on Saturday Night Live in a fucking on set of the Oval Office, and he showed Americans Trump as president. He put Trump in the Oval Office on our fucking TVs, and he made that shit real. And then he fucking put him on Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon like tousled his hair and made Trump seem like chill and lovable, and
an actual human being.
Fuck that shit. Lorne Michaels definitely is to blame.
There was all part of the Piper strategy for Hillary Clinton to boost Donald Trump up. It was all part of a strategy, but it backfired on him, unfortunately. Let's see. Hold up. I think my stream crashed. Hold up. 1 second.
And he's back.
Okay, that first time that happened, I like panicked. Like, whoa, what was that?
So, the stream did crash for what it's worth.
I think I was trying to say we're still alive. I think we're still alive.
The media really fucked us. Also, Trevor Noah. Fuck you, Trevor Noah, for fucking making that clip of Bernie where it looks like he's calling kids stupid. You're an asshole just for cheap laughs. Laughs.
It was the entire media landscape was throwing pot shot after Bernie, while they wasn't even holding Biden accountable for the basic shit that he was doing. Like, could you imagine if Bernie Sanders was running and he was lying about his civil rights record, and Joe Biden would call lying about being arrested in South Africa with Nelson Mandela? It's like, can you imagine if Bernie did something like that? Can you imagine Bernie lied?
They tried taking down Bernie for writing a
That
short
rape essay?
story
Yep.
that mentions rape in the 70s. He wrote a piece of literature that talked about rape.
And if you take it way out of context, it does look kind of bad. But if you read the whole thing, he's saying how horrifying the whole thing is. That rape culture is a thing.
Think that I didn't think that writing about rape was worse than like
actually raping somebody.
Raping someone.
And that's a daily reminder that Tara Reid has not been debunked yet, and they still gonna refuse that happen. But that's the thing. Once again, you can't tell me that Joe Biden is different than Donald Trump, because just like Donald Trump, he has multiple accusers. That's what they don't understand.
Trump owns that shit.
That what they don't.
Trump just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I rape people, whatever.
He's a fuck it. You don't believe him anyway. He's still gonna vote for me.
Yeah.
And Biden pretty much did the same strat. He was like, yo, if you think I raped Tara Reid, don't vote for me then. That pretty much the same strat that Trump.
Yeah, he actually said that if he had to vote and he believed Tara Reid, he wouldn't vote for himself. And it's like, cool, I just got permission to not vote for you.
That's a good strategy though. That's probably the best way he could have handled that, to be honest.
You know, I saw
like, what can you do?
I saw some genius today. Some genius on Twitter was selling their vote. They were like, yo, I'll vote for Biden if you pay me.
I'm not mad at him. And I was
like,
that's not a bad idea. I do live in Wisconsin.
I'm not mad.
And I'll vote Joe.
I live in Wisconsin, so my vote actually might matter to these people.
So, you know what I mean? Just keep that in mind. Keep your Venmo open.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, you might well try to sell it, Alex. You might as well, because they taking the Green Party off the ballot in Wisconsin.
I'm still writing them in. I'm still writing them in. You still can.
I was just about to say that, because I was like, bro, don't matter if they take them off. Write them in. Write Bernie in. Show up. Vote locally.
If I didn't hate Trump so much, I would be tempted to spite vote for him right now, just because of how the Dems just completely fucked over Green.
That my man Ron was saying, like,
yeah,
like I'm trying to I'm staying neutral on this shit, because my argument is that Biden is as bad as Trump. My argument isn't that Trump is better than him or Biden is better than him. So I don't want to root for, so I'm not openly rooting for Trump. And that was think. What are you thinking, Katie?
Do you think, like, all right, so I go, like, I think that with Trump, things will continue to get worse. With Biden, they absolutely will not get better. But, like, which one will make things worse faster?
I was sharing my opinion on this, and that shit got me in hella trouble. Like, everybody went after me when I said that shit. Even John Legend went after me. I was like, damn, they sent the whole army after me. And I still had hella life, but like, bro, the whole
the John
Biden
Legend
army. Do you see that? Because I won't see if I can find it.
I saw that shit.
That shit is fucking hilarious, actually. Because
I was like, that you even got his attention.
I was like, my thing is, I was like, hey, yo, so Biden winning is definitely better for the short term. But you got to think about it, in the long term, if we have 12 years of neoliberalism that's going to continue to make the climate crisis worse, wouldn't we be in a better position fighting Trump for 4 years instead of fighting Joe Biden plus Kamala Harris for 8 years? So
I don't think they win re-election.
That wasn't unrealistic to say. Yeah. And my thing is, I think a lot of people they rightly estimate how bad Trump is. They might even overestimate it to a point, but they underestimate how bad the Democrats are. They underestimate how bad Joe Biden is. They underestimate how bad Barack Obama was, because everything that Trump done that is bad, they had been complicit in setting that precedent for Trump doing. For example, supporting ICE. Like, we're gonna still get into that a little bit later, what they're doing right now. But that's because Barack Obama and Joe Biden supported them. They continue to expand and vote for DHS, which directly is in charge of ICE. So the Democratic Party is complicit with this shit. So my thing is, I don't say Biden's better than Trump or Trump is better than Biden. And I understand people that make the argument that we should vote for Biden over Trump. If you want to choose which fascist you want to vote, I get it. But I'm done voting for my oppressor, and I'm voting for Medicare for all if it's on the ballot. And I don't care what the chances of them winning. I want to let the system know that there's an electorate out there that will vote for Medicare for all if it's on the ballot, and we can't play around with that shit no more. Because if we continue to vote for them, they will continue to rig the primary like they did now.
Well, next
Go ahead,
election,
Katie.
it's going to be, somebody worse than Trump. It's probably going to be fucking Tucker Carlson,
Exactly.
and somebody worse than fucking Biden, and we're going to be in the same position that we're in right now, where it's this asshole or this asshole,
and we're going to get told.
Neither of them will make either one of our lives better here on this call, right?
And you're not gonna. And my thing is, you're not gonna make an argument to turn me to a Democrat, because that's the argument. Right. You are trying to turn me to a Democrat, because if you're saying that we have to vote for a Democrat Party because Trump is so bad right now, that means you're gonna tell me we gotta do that every 2 years because the Republican Party is not getting better, and that's the false assumption that they're making. Right now, you have QAnon candidates that are winning local races in the Republican Party. And these people are crazier than Trump. Like, Trump don't even know what QAnon is. Like, he goes along with it.
He retweets that shit.
He goes along with it because it's pro-Trump. Like, Trump has a simple mind. If it's pro-him, he's all for it. But if you actually, like, lay it out to him, like, I don't think Trump will believe that shit. Like, Trump is just following because because it helps him out. But there are people that are actually in charge that's running for Republicans who have a lot of influence. They're followers on social media. They're the people that influence the thought. They're thought leaders. They're all crazy. They all fascists, and they all believe in QAnons. So if you think getting rid of Trump, what exactly are you accomplishing by doing that? Are you just you temporarily starving them out? And
if Trump loses, that's gonna be scary as shit. Could you imagine those folks?
Yeah, when they're in charge, they in a few years it's happening the same way that, like, a lot of people don't see it right now. But I always think ahead. I'm looking in the future. Like, when the Tea Party happened, like, a lot of people don't understand that what's happening during the Tea Party movement. But now you look in the future. Now look, all the Republicans are Tea Partiers, and we're seeing that right now with QAnon, with Trumpers, and there's the delusional tactic that Biden bros and the Democratic Party had from the beginning. Was they going to win the Republican voters over, the moderate Republicans?
No,
and guess what?
They're the United Party.
They 5%. Don't exist. They don't exist. They got 5%. You know,
5%.
I talk about this all the time, but you realize that Donald Trump, he didn't even try, but Donald Trump got more Democrats in 2016 than Biden is polling with Republicans right now.
Oh, that's also with Hillary spending literally twice the amount that Trump did.
Exactly. So what that tell you? That tell you that the moderate Republican is dead. The party of Reagan doesn't exist. It's the party of Trump. So you want to tell me that I got to vote against Trump? You tell me I got to vote Democrat every 2 or 4 years. No deal. No deal. You guys can get me on your team. Very easy. You know how you get me on your team? Support Medicare for all. Like this Guardian article came out. I'm still gonna break that down. I'm not. You gotta get it right. I'm not burning your bus. I'm Medicare for all bus. I'm ending imperialism bus. Green New Deal bus. Living wage or bus. Abolishing ICE or bus. Like, you can get me on your team, and people get mad at me because they say I'm helping Trump. You could have had me on your team, but you got chosen the wrong man on Super Tuesday.
You gotta work for it.
It's that simple.
Yeah, they're giving leftists literally nothing, and they expect us to vote for them anyway.
And what leverage do we have? You know, we're not fucking the billionaire class. So I can't donate a substantial amount to your campaign. The only thing I have is my single vote.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just give that up willy-nilly, what incentive do you have to earn that shit?
That's also the same thing I keep hearing about, how we're gonna, hold Biden's feet to the fire after we elect him and push him.
He already called himself a one-term president.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He has no reason.
Preach.
He has literally no reason to move left at all.
That's a great point. I brought it before, and they don't care. Like that, they will lose the people. I see progressives contradict themselves on this shit all the time. They will say, "Yeah, Biden, he don't care. The Democrats don't care. They want to lose the elections." And then at the same time, they say, "Well, they can push him to the left." Which one is it? Does he care about winning elections, or will he be influenced or not? Because if he doesn't care, which is the position I take the Democratic Party don't care how many they don't care how many seats they lose. So if you try to push them left, and they get pissed off, they don't care. Obama lost 1,200 seats. Did he move to the left? He didn't give a fuck. Like, they will lose, and they'll continue to lose, and no matter how much you withhold your vote, it's not gonna matter. So you gotta literally vote for only the Medicare for all candidates. And you gotta let the overall electorate know that you either fall in line behind our coalition or you will continue to lose. You don't move. You don't hold the leaders accountable. You hold the vote. You hold the electorate hostage. So you have a lot of good faith liberals who want to defeat the Republican Party, who may be on board with Medicare for all. You know how I know that? We have exit polls, and the exit polls show the majority of people supported Medicare for all, but they thought Joe Biden was the most electable. Why is that? Because they believe he is. So if we show through our electoral actions that Joe Biden is not electable, that liberal mind who support Medicare for all, support progressive policy, they will now be like, all right, not only do I support these policies, I will support the progressive candidate because he had the coalition need to win. That's how you win politics. Not giving up your power. It's simple. What do you think, Katie?
Psychologically, I think it's really hard, really like truly difficult for people to dismantle what they already believe, right? So like people really, really believe and have believed for most of their lives that the Democratic Party is the party of the people and the party that's looking out for them. And I think that dismantling that belief system, like having to understand that this party you've kind of worshipped and you've supported for all this time doesn't love you the same way. It's really hard for people to accept. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of, where you bring up a lot of points where these two things can't be true, right? Like they both can't be true, but people are having such a hard time dismantling that shit. Because if this is untrue, then all these things I believe are also untrue. It's like once they accept something, that shit's just gonna crumble, and that's like too much for them to take on right now.
It's their cult mind. Like there's
the cult mentality. That's exactly
I use that term. I'm like people. I post what I post because I'm like, man, I use plain language. I don't like soft language. I'm a fan of George Carlin. He took me to school on soft language a long time ago. I don't like that shit. I'll call a spade a spade. I'll call a fascist a fascist, and I'll call things what I see. So when I see the Democratic Party continue to, they pretend that Trump is the worst thing ever, right? But they continue to prop him up and prop up his programs, and they continue to embolden evil. For example, we have this story that just came out. I'll pull it up right now. This one right here. We have vice presidential candidate that says she's still a strong supporter of ICE. You realize that this story, it didn't shock me at all. I wasn't shocked. When this story came out, there was a shock of consciousness that came out that I honestly didn't expect, even from a lot of lib minds, a lot of the casual observers. When this story came out, they're like, they doing what? They doing what? I've been saying that for years on every ICE story.
We did this to black people like 50 years ago. Like, this isn't something new.
Exactly. Like, this isn't, as someone who's been radicalized already, this is not a story that shocks me. And as someone
who's been pulled out of the matrix.
Yeah, and as someone who's been a strong advocate of abolish ICE for a longest, ever since almost the inception of it, I come with the same conclusion with this article. I read the other ones because there were stories earlier how ICE had literally they've been found guilty of having forced labor in their concentration camps. Well, that story is years old,
and remind me when these camps were built.
Exactly. A lot of people got memories that only spanned after 2016. They got.
I wonder who was vice president during that.
I wonder who.
It's rough. It's really hard. I think that for me, I really want to believe that Trump is, only has 2 months left in the position that he's in. But I think for me, when Joe Biden was crowned, DNC puppet, when that happened, I think I already accepted that Trump won.
I'm going to watch the election and probably be drunk the entire time. And I don't know how I'm going to react because I really just honestly don't care who wins anymore. They're both just so terrible and they both have different things that are going to go wrong because of them either winning or losing.
I am
I just
scared
stopped
that
taking
if Biden wins, folks are going back to bed.
Yeah. That's a big
And-
thing. They're going to go back to brunch and bed. And then in 4 years, Tucker Carlson or whoever is going to run against probably Kamala Harris because Biden will die like...
Or Ivanka.
Whatever. Whoever the right puts up, who is going to be...
We don't have any good choices of who we're going to fight. That one people to realize. There's no
honestly,
good choices that we have.
I think I'm at the point where if I really, really had to pick between the two, and obviously I don't want either of them to win, but if I like was forced at like gunpoint to pick one, I think I would want Trump to win because he's radicalized so many people towards the left that it's ridiculous, myself included.
A lot of people don't understand, man, how much I hate. Like, it was before this primary. It's not even just me being salty about Bernie loss, which I am. I'm not ever gonna lie about that. I'm salty about that.
I think we should
be.
But I have a disdain towards Joe Biden, and I had the same disdain for Hillary before 2016 because I voted for Joe Stein in 2016, and I told people this story. Barack Obama was my last vote for Lesser Two Evil in 2012, and I made a decision I'm not gonna do that no more because during the course of me throwing away my values because I wanted to see the black president get 2 terms back in my dumb lib days. Every time I read a story, every single time I read a story about a drone strike or him killing people overseas, I felt complicit. Whenever I heard about the fact that he was a deporter in chief, I felt complicit. And I was like, I'm not doing that shit no more. I'm only advocating for my community, and that's what I'm doing from here on out.
Because you've got to live with your choices.
Yeah, and I literally couldn't do it because I read enough history. Like I'm a big history buff, and I look into like moments of when people's government is really evil. How does that happen among civilian populations? And looking at that historically, it happens when you have a complicit voting base who are not outraged by what stuff the government does. And our government trains us not to care about foreign policy because they made a mistake of leading a little bit too into the Vietnam War and making it too public. For example, the Vietnam War was the first war that was televised, and they made a mistake doing that because they televised that war, and then the anti-war movement grew from that. So they were like, all right, we're not doing that shit no more.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. They was like, we're not doing that shit ever again.
Yeah.
So now they got constant manufacturing consent to get people not to care about foreign policy. Like the idea of not voting for a candidate because their foreign policy votes is like laughable to the Washington D.C. liberal mind. And a lot of people never understood why I didn't like Elizabeth Warren. And this is before Elizabeth Warren betrayed Bernie Sanders. Because that's when the cat went out of the bag. That's when you had a lot of progressives that were still holding shoes for Elizabeth Warren. Even they had to admit that she was full of shit at that point. But I was ringing the bell for Warren a long time ago when she was voting for Trump's military budget. That when she was canceling me. I canceled her during that time. And then I witnessed her rhetoric. She constantly holds water for Israel. She never stands for the Palestinian people. When the whole Trump tried to do his coup of Venezuela, guess who was on Trump's side? Elizabeth Warren. So I'm like, so you gotta understand, I was going literally crazy throughout the whole course of the primary. When progressives were propping Warren up, I'm like, what the are you doing?
She's not a progressive. And even if she was, progressive isn't good enough anymore.
Exactly. If people really think, right? Like I saw this posted somewhere and it really made me think, like, if I really, really believed in my full heart, if I believed wholly that Trump was going to bring an era of fascism unlike anything we've ever known,
right?
I'd fucking be phone banking my ass off.
Right, you would think, right? you like.
If I truly believed that Biden was the savior and was the way to keep us from sliding into dire fascism, I'd be phone banking. But obviously, nobody really believes that.
Yeah, I've gotten one text so far from the Biden campaign.
Man, I tell people this all
we
the
did
time.
go back and forth for like 15 minutes, but that's all I've gotten.
Man,
when Bernie was still like the primary, like in the primaries, I was hitting Bernie shit constantly. like 3 texts a day.
People
tell-
also forget that like these people like work for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's really confusing the role reversal we've got going on between these elected officials and people.
People still have like a monarchist mindset in a way, but they just
Yeah,
they
exactly.
traded kings for oligarchs. That's
Exactly.
the end. That's it.
Jeff Bezos is the new king pretty much now.
Yeah.
that pretty
Dude,
much...
every day that guy chooses not to end world hunger.
I don't understand how you could have $200 billion, realize that world hunger, I forgot the number already. I'd have to look it up, but he wouldn't. I meant like the cost to end world hunger for a year. I remember looking it up and thinking he wouldn't even notice that money's gone.
Yeah, it wouldn't even dent him. Meanwhile, right now we got like this article just came out earlier this month. CBS, it was like 54 million Americans set to go hungry for the rest of the year. They can't afford the food needed. And I was like, how much? 54,000? 54? Do you mean 540,000? Like, is there a comma missing here? I read that. I was like, what? 54 million. And I'm banging my head. I'm banging my head against the keyboard because I'm like, man, what if this doesn't start a general strike? How do you get a general strike started? We can't get a general strike started when 54 million Americans go hungry. 40 million Americans might lose their home. What do we have to do?
We don't have the mutual aid set up to support a general strike. Like just saying like, oh yeah, let's start striking on January 1st or September 1st, just not going to happen. You have to have the support. You have to have the ability to feed people, house
the folks
people.
that need to strike need to work.
Yeah. If they
a catch-22.
And right now, if you don't work, you're going to be homeless on the street, starving to death.
Man, I hate our system, man. They're so fucking good at what they do, man. Because we don't have health care through our employment. It makes it so much harder to organize strikes and shit. Like they're so good.
We need more unions and more mutual aid.
God damn them. And they're so good. You see what they're doing now, right? Let's bring this up with the Green Party, with them suppressing. And you're a Wisconsin voter, aren't you, Alex?
Yes. Yep. Lived in Wisconsin my entire life.
So what are you doing now, man? So apparently now that they officially blocked the Green Party on the ballot in your state, that means you're definitely about to vote for Joe Biden now, right, Alex?
Totally.
That's definitely your plan now. Damn, they got you, man. They got you, bro.
Until I found out that I can still write in, because the laws here are kind of wonky. You have to be registered somehow to be like accepted as a write-in. Like Bernie Sanders, if I wrote in Bernie Sanders, wouldn't be counted. But the Green Party, Howie Hawkins, Angela Walker, if you write them in, they're still registered, so it still counts for them. So yeah, I guess I'm just writing them in instead.
Yeah, I guess you gotta do something right. So it actually said the Wisconsin Supreme Court kept the Green Party's presidential ticket.
Yeah, you wanna check the
I'm gonna see who's responsible for this.
I can tell you. There's 3 liberals on the court.
Justice Brian Hagedorn broke with fellow conservatives to form a majority with the court's liberal. See, vote blue no matter who, guys.
All 3 liberals voted to take the Green Party off, and then one conservative.
We a party full of fascists, huh?
For democracy.
Yeah, they're calling this democracy when they're taking a choice away from people and calling it democracy.
It's just it's like we're in a season of a fucking sci-fi show.
Did they get the writers from Game of Thrones? Like
Black Mirror.
Fucking shit. But yeah, like I don't know if they really think people are gonna just vote for Biden now.
They do.
Like I said, I
really think that hate will win this.
Like
it never has historically, but
if the Republican candidate wasn't such a piece of shit, if it was basically anybody but Trump, well, okay, I can't say that, but you get what I'm saying. I would have spite voted Republican just because of this bullshit that they're doing here.
Do you think so?
I saw Ron saying
my memory is kind of fucked, but didn't we Didn't we hate George Bush?
Well,
Like,
not
so
not
much?
anymore, apparently.
Wasn't he
Now he's
just
fine.
the worst
Back in
possible
the
Yeah,
day.
he's
thing?
good now. He's good now.
In 8 to 12 years, are we gonna be like, this guy is the worst?
I miss Trump.
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah,
of
no,
Trump.
I totally fully believe that they're going to rehabilitate Trump just like they did with Bush.
They gonna call Trump a family
That's
man
gonna
or shit. One they're gonna do some sort of way. Man, they stand for absolutely nothing.
No.
And that was
They love war criminals. That's like half their party, if not more.
because they have been saying, and obviously that was a big projection this entire time about how much of a threat that Russia was to our democracy and how we'll lose our democracy once Trump wins the White House. It seems like all that shit was projection now, huh? Because
Did you hear today? I don't remember if I saw it on your tweet or if it was someone else's. That there was an intelligence officer that was like working on Russia, and he said he can't corroborate any of.
Oh, I saw that. I wanted to talk about that. Well, you got the article? You want to pull it up? Do you have it?
Yeah,
I actually wanted to talk about that because man, how many times do I gotta be right about this shit? I literally call that shit like.
I think most of us knew it was bullshit.
I mean, most of us we all know now. We all know now. But it's like as soon as this story came out, I was like, dude, this sounds like bullshit. Like this sounds like bullshit.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest. I believed it at first, but I was still like.
I'm waiting for you guys to go show me some evidence. Do you have the? I want to see exactly what.
Oh no, I can.
Do you have it?
I'll go find it.
Let's see if we can find it because I actually want to talk about that because once again they can attack Trump on literally anything they want to. I laid out perfectly how I would attack Trump, and while Alex getting that pulled up, like for example, like Katie, how would you attack like if you was writing an attack ad against Donald Trump? Like what would your
honestly?
What would your go-to be?
I just don't know because I think he is the uncancelable person. He's the most uncancelable person in the world. I mean, he could sit there and say, I could shoot somebody, I grab him by the pussy, I cheated on my wife with a prostitute, all my kids are from different women. It doesn't matter. Friends with fucking Weinstein, friends with Epstein, doesn't matter.
Pictures with him.
Pictures of him with him. It's cute. It's almost cute to me that people think Trump can be canceled when they tweet things. Oh, it's over for Trump.
Like, you gotta admit, Trump is the greatest politician of all time. Because how the hell he pulled that off? He pulled off a situation where he literally cannot lose his base. And the liberals, the Democrats, they learned one very valuable lesson in 2016. It's not that you shouldn't abandon the left. It's that you should create a Trump. You should have someone just like Trump that's above criticism that you don't criticize. Because if you look at Joe Biden, he is literally that guy. He's above criticism at this point. Even if you have common sense criticisms, they won't allow it. Like even if you point out the fact that he wrote the crime bill, even if you talk about his bankruptcy bill, they say, "Oh, you can't do that. That's divisive." That's divisive. He's running an unapologetic right wing campaign. Like for example, like I'm glad that Alex got this story pulled up now because this is the kind of foreign policy they lean into.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan. He's like, no, it wasn't happening.
And you can see how the media, our corporate media, is like running as a super PAC for Joe Biden's campaign. Because when the story came out, it was already loosely sourced, and everyone was ringing the alarm bells from the fact that it wasn't sourced heavily. And then you have all the mainstream media on all their channels that was blaring this out here like it was fact. And they still do this when they report. What the intelligence communities report is fact. And it will always be fact, despite the fact that they constantly, even in recent history, with the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War.
Do we not remember WMDs?
Yeah, the recent, like, not even just, we don't have to go back that far. There was just a report that just came out like 2 years ago where they said there was a long-standing lie on the Afghanistan war that the intelligence communities was complicit with. You had the military generals, you had a lot of intelligence communities that were lying about the status of the Afghanistan war under the Trump administration, and guess what? Under the Obama and the Biden administration as well. Lying about war.
Like you've talked about before, like most of these people don't get swapped out once like an election happens. Like the generals are still the same people.
Yeah, that's the permanent state.
These are still the same people.
Yeah.
And you see, they love to try to turn that to a conspiracy theory. Oh, you believe there's a deep state, man? You must be crazy, man. No, I'm talking about the military generals, the intelligence community. Are you telling me those people don't exist? Like, are you telling me that there was a CNN guy who was trying to pretend the military industrial complex didn't exist? And you got a job as a foreign analyst at CNN, and you trying to gaslight the people that the military industrial complex does not exist. Why do you think there's more bombing after every president? Like, this isn't an individual thing. It's gonna get worse under Joe Biden. They already signaled that. They already showed. Joe Biden just said that he's gonna increase the military budgets. He's looking up to ramp up tensions in Russia. He's gonna increase tension with Iran. Like, they're already telling us this shit. And you're not gonna see a decrease in bombing, because you see a decrease in bombing, you see a decrease in profits. There's a reason why George Bush, he broke the record. He bombed more people than Clinton did. And then Barack Obama came in office, and he did the unthinkable. The unthinkable. He beat George Bush. 10 times more bombs than George Bush. And then Donald Trump came in and did the unthinkable again. He drone strikes more people in 1 year than Obama did in 8. He beat the drone king in 1 year. Like, he was like, he said, you call Obama the drone king? I got you. I'm gonna beat that in 1 year. And then you got people that still pretend that he's anti-war. They still pretend.
Then you got him, and then he's literally getting Nobel Peace Prizes because of the work he does in the Middle East, which I don't even fucking understand.
Right.
So yeah, I just saw that today that there's some. I didn't look into it. I'm gonna be honest, because I saw it like 10 minutes before I started getting all this set up, where Trump had some agreement with Israel and a few other countries.
Yep.
But not Palestine.
Nope.
Oh, I saw that. There's definitely something that I'm gonna look into. We're gonna do a comprehensive breakdown. But it's some more Israel bootlicking shit, isn't it? It's like some more Israel, pro-Israel shit, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a bunch of Zionist bullshit as usual.
Yeah, because I see Palestine and trend on Twitter. Hold on, let me see. Let's see what we can find here real quick. Let's we call this segment. Let me see if I can get the stream on here. Let's figure this out live. We call this the on Twitter part. Cause I see Palestine and trending right now on Twitter. So let's see.
Yeah, I clicked on it quick, and all I was
here. I think this is the breaking right here. I saw this anonymous retweeted.
It actually was a peace agreement. Huh?
So I need to learn what the finer details of what this means. But it seems like from the outside in, it seems like they just want to. It seems like this is an agreement for them to maintain the status quo, which isn't good for Palestine. So I think that's what this is. It's them agreeing that they're going to let Israel continue to apartheid state. So is Palestine part of this agreement at all? Like,
no, it's not.
That's what I thought. Like, I don't see them part of this agreement.
What Aaron in your chat is saying, like, this 4 countries that aren't at war signing a peace agreement, but leaving Palestine out. That's just straight up saying.
Oh yeah, that's from Aaron.
That's what the conflict is about.
They're straight up saying, you know what, fuck Palestine. That's all.
Yeah, so they don't even get to say anything. It's like, what the fuck?
No.
See, this kind of shit, I see that.
They're straight up genociding Palestine.
Do they geographically have any, resources of value just to try to get inside the mind of these people?
Palestine?
Yeah.
Do
they have oil?
I don't think they really have much.
I feel like we'd be pro-Palestine.
I think it's purely because Israel is pro-United States because we, give them a ton of money, and that's our imperialist foothold in the Middle East. That's
I think
we've got allies in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think Papa Chomsky said it best because his whole thing was
Don't call him
it's largely
States
based
was a
on
history, and a very interesting
religious.
one. It actually goes
Because this
back
is his
to
theory on why we support Israel
goes
here.
back a long time.
I don't think it's
One
even
thing
religion.
to remember is
I'm gonna
that
be honest.
Christian Zionism is a
I
very
pulled this up because
powerful
I didn't
force
want to misquote
which
what he
goes
said,
back
but this
long
is what
before
I
Jewish
like his theory on
Zionism.
why we support Israel.
In England, particularly, Christian Zionism was a powerful force among British elites.
I think it's also
That's
like,
part of the motivation for the
I mean,
Balfour
this is a
Declaration.
really controversial thing to say, but
No, we are about controversy here.
Jews are the whitest folks in the Middle East, right? So it's just further colonization.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
you know.
surprised if there's a white supremacy element in it too.
I think there's a white supremacy element to it. I'm sure it's
I don't know if I buy
far
that.
more layered and complex, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a colonization.
Well, it's definitely colonization, but I don't think it has anything to do with perceived whiteness.
I
mean,
don't
maybe,
trust any of these people. I think they're all racist fucks. Just misogynist.
Well, they are
fucks.
misogynist, racist fucks, but most Jews actually don't look any different than anyone else in the area. I think it's purely just an imperialist thing from the United States, as usual. We never gave up imperialism. Like, people think that the imperial era is over because, you know, we decolonized all these countries. Yeah, and then how many? Like, if you take a map of Central and South America, how many countries on there can you say we didn't start a coup in?
I wanted to pull this up because this is just another reason why I despise Kamala.
In the midst of uncertainty,
because she's an Israel puppet. Like, she was chosen for a reason. Check this out. Like, this shit pisses me off.
And she can go fuck herself.
And as Iran
For many reasons.
to launch
Look, this is why she was picked. I want you guys to realize this.
Terrorist proxy Hezbollah. We must stand with Israel.
Did you notice that Bernie Sanders, an actual Jew, didn't go to this conference?
As Hamas
AIPAC is
control of Gaza and fires rockets
AIPAC is everything they say
Israel's
Russiagate is. Because they say Russiagate is like this foreign influence that meddles in our elections. That's what AIPAC is. Like, our AIPAC is literally buying our politicians. They buying their loyalty to Israel, literally through AIPAC.
Yeah,
that's why you see politicians like Kamala Harris up here literally swearing her allegiance to Israel, and that's why she literally said something near the end, how we're gonna continue funding them. We give them billions of dollars of aid every year.
But how can we afford Medicare for all?
Yeah. Meanwhile, she voted for.
Meanwhile, we're all suffering here.
She voted against a 10% military decrease, but we can't afford Medicare for all. We can give billions of dollars to Israel. Check this out, because this is why I wasn't surprised when she was chosen.
Stand with
Get the
Israel.
alcohol back up.
And as ISIS and civil war in Syria destabilize the region, displacing millions and threatening shared security interests.
I wonder who started ISIS.
Support all those affected by ongoing violence and terror, and we must stand with Israel.
It sounds like this is a cult meeting, isn't it?
Our defense relationship is critical to both nations, which is why I support
they
the
on
United
offense.
States commitment to provide
Defense, they on
$38
offense.
billion in military assistance over the next
You
decade.
hear that? $38 billion. There's your homeless crisis right there.
Provide Israel
Yeah, that would solve the entire United States homeless crisis.
both nations.
Like that. Done.
Which is why I support the United States commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade.
That's insane. That's insanity to me.
It is
like Israel they guarantee healthcare to all their citizens. They guarantee college to all their citizens. We don't. Meanwhile, we're funding them.
They also decide who's a citizen and who isn't. So there's a lot of Palestinian people that don't have healthcare.
Yeah, they're a apartheid state for sure. But this is I always I wanted to show this because I want people to realize that Kamala is not an accident. It's not. She would show. Her being chosen as VP was not a surprise for me at all. It wasn't a surprise to me. That's why we had a target on her from day one, because we knew that they were gonna pass the White House to her. That's why she already talking about Harris administration. She know what the game plan is.
She knows.
She know what the game plan is. She was chosen by Israel. She was chosen by Wall Street. Like when she was chosen as VP, there's a story how Wall Street was dancing in celebration. Wall Street doesn't lose. Wall Street never loses in the VP pick. Trust me.
Private prison stocks rose sharply when she was announced as VP. I wonder why that is.
That can't be real.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't actually. That can't be real. I didn't see that part, but that's hilarious. Oh, did I crash again?
I will find it.
All right, I'm back.
I'll be back in 1 second.
Go ahead, take your time. Yeah, about 1 hour. Yeah, we went pretty good.
I'm just finding the stock here. So, yeah, found it. This is one of the private prison companies on the day she was announced. Wonder why it would jump up like that. That's a straight fucking line up.
Oh my god, they like all that free slave labor that Queen Kamala.
It's a straight line.
You know, they was all like, "Yes, Queen, yes, Queen."
Oh yeah, they were thrilled about this. That's fucking terrible. This literal slavery that's happening, and they're profiting from it.
Man, I feel bad for non-Americans. Non-Americans are fucked. Period. Is like we all fucked. But whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden, Jesus Christ, immigrants, non-Americans, Palestinians. The Palestinians, dude, the Palestinians have lost no matter who won this election.
Well, yeah,
they always lose.
Genocided since the 60s at the very latest. Like, it's literal genocide. Moving people off of their homeland and deporting them to other places is literally genocide in the Geneva Convention. That's what they're doing. They're destroying all of their homes and shit to make.
We're big genocide supporters. We're big genocide supporters.
Oh, the United States, absolutely. Like, that's what we do.
Yep.
I don't know why honestly, I don't know why we went to war with Nazi Germany, because they learned everything from us. They looked at our eugenics.
Nazi Germany fucked up because they should have kept that shit in their backyard. If they kept that shit in their backyard, they would have been good. We would be like, all right, that's actually A-okay what y'all doing, but the white people was threatened. That's why they had to go after them. And then you see, we didn't disapprove. That's why we took all their scientists on our
Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, Paperclip, absolutely.
We just straight up took all of their scientists, and then we're like, yep, we're good now.
So you see, it wasn't like a moral objection on our part.
No, it was very clearly not a moral.
We saw what they was doing. We was like, big ups to you guys. You guys are killing
basically the guy who ran NASA, who basically started NASA, Wernher von Braun, was a Nazi. He designed the V2 rocket. That's the guy we brought over and ran our space program until he died. Like, we clearly didn't give a shit that they were killing all the Jews and communists and whatever. We were just...
I mean, how could this country comment on Nazism after all of the atrocities we've committed? You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I was saying when you were on your computer. Yeah, like they literally looked at our eugenics programs and copied it. That's where the Nazis got the idea from. Yeah. They literally copied us.
Unreal.
And that's why it's always and our inability to have any more high ground is what help enables.
Oh no, fuck this country.
Yeah, it help enable people in other countries as well. Because the reason why I don't have, and I never fell victim of Russiagate and Russophobia, because you look at a lot of Americans how they see Vladimir Putin, and they say Putin is this evil dictator. Putin is executing journalists. He's doing all this evil shit. And then you know what Putin's response is every time this ass, he said, "Hey, you see what the Americans are doing? The Americans are beating the fuck out of black people in their country. How dare they criticize me?" And then Putin's like, bro, and Putin's like, you see how they treat immigrants in your country? They deporting them. Like you notice how the media never ever show what Putin's response is. And once again, this does not mean apologize for Putin. I'm an anti-corruption no matter where it is. Fuck Putin. But my point is that Putin can always deflect because what he does, every time he asks about Americans wrongdoing, Russian wrongdoing, he always say, look at what Trump is doing. Look at what Barack Obama is doing. They poisoning black people in Flint, Michigan. They don't have basic infrastructure in the country. They got homelessness crisis. Like he literally always does this. Every time the media ask him, they always like, oh.
He's not
You
wrong.
actually
That's
ever seen it? It's actually funny. I actually seen a video where he did the same thing, and I was like, and then someone was like, yo, he does that all the time. Like Putin will literally, every time he asks about his evil shit that he does, he always say, hey, look at what the Americans done. They fund Saudi Arabia, one of the largest exporters of terrorism in the world. You didn't talk about us. Like it's actually kind of funny. Yeah, I saw. I wish I could find a video. It was a long time ago, but it was like a compilation showing him doing that. Like it's a tactic that he legitimately used because our government is so evil. Like so, what our government do? It actually has a consequence. Like we lost this pretend moral high ground. We never had it, by the way. Don't get it twisted. But any semblance of that moral high ground is gone, and that's why other countries are looking at us and they laugh at us. I remember Hamdia brought this up when we were doing the Black Rose Brigade, how they had a mock post where they were talking about we sponsor Americans for $6 a month because the government banned us during COVID. So you realize that we're a laughing stock now, right?
That $1,200 check, yeah. It turns out to be $6 a month now.
Yeah. So it's like, man, we are literally a laughing stock. The same thing that Trump complained about during the Obama years. Because I remember Trump he used to say
and we were laughing
that he like, man, we're a laughing stock, and now we're a laughing stock now. We're gonna be a laughing stock with Biden in charge because they would know.
It's funny.
Go ahead, Katie.
That whole concept of being a laughing stock and not being able to hold any moral high ground is actually, again, bringing it back to the Democrats, where I think like Joe Biden's biggest weaknesses is we all know that Trump is immoral. We all know that Trump is an adulterer, that he's a pervert, that he's this and that. But when Biden goes out and says, I'm a decent man, you know what I mean? That's the problem. It's like
and
America's trying to be like, we're these great people. Fuck what you do and you do. You guys are this, you guys are that. While we're killing Black people, it's it's like the Democrats are a microcosm of the national problem. We don't get to hold moral high ground when we do disgusting things. Right?
I honestly think that Democrats are nationalists in denial.
That's a good way to put it.
Straight up nationalists. Because, well, I mean, like we talked about a while ago now, the foreign policy is just so incredibly, like, how many people got killed by one of Obama's drone strikes? How much blood does Joe Biden have on his hands?
Don't worry. Those people that got bombed by Obama, it's okay. They at least they got bombed by the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah.
Right?
Before Obama reclassified literally everyone as an enemy combatant, 90% were civilians. And then he decided, you know what? Yeah, if they're there, they're enemy combatants. So now it's 0, I guess.
Once again, that's the institutional fascism that I talk about. And that fascism we can't vote out. If you think we can vote that out with the choice that we have right now, you're insane.
If you think you can vote it out, get to phone banking, bitch.
And also, I mean, every instance of fascism that has ever risen to power has never been able to be voted out.
It's not voted out.
No, it's always a revolutionary war.
Amen, Alex.
So if Trump is a fascist, which I think he wants to be a fascist,
he's a following direction. He's following direction.
I'm not sure. But okay, you get what I'm saying. So if he actually is, then voting for Biden's pointless. Because Trump's just going to say, you know what, fuck you, the elections don't matter. So maybe we should be organizing instead of trying to get people to vote if he is that big of a fascist.
Mm-hmm. And if all these motherfuckers are going to be fascists, we should be focusing our energy on policy, not people, right? Like,
you would think, right?
All the individuals are shit. So let's focus on who's saying they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I don't care who you are.
So my thing, I made this point the other day.
Right?
I made the point the other day. Liberals really think that they hate Donald Trump more than they hate me. Then I hate him. Trust me, they do not. They do not hate Trump as much as I do. So what they do, they hate Trump and they just want to get rid of him. Man, I hate Trump so much. I want to dismantle the entire system that led someone like that to even exist. The fact that Trump can even exist, I want this system gone. Yes. I want every single system gone. That's how much I hate Trump.
I'm with you.
You hate Trump just enough to get rid of him, and you don't care about anyone around him. You don't care about the party. I want the Republican Party crushed. I want trickle-down economics crushed, because trickle-down economics is Trumpism. U.S. imperialism is Trumpism.
Who wrote most of the bills that allowed him to do this?
DHS is Trumpism. So when
Joe Biden wrote these bills.
So when you guys when people go crazy on me because when they go crazy at Trump because he's using the Department of Homeland Security as his personal militia, I'm like, the fact that that's even legal is what I want to get rid of. Like, that's what I want to get rid of. I want to abolish the Department of Homeland Security. I want to get rid of ICE because I'm against Trumpism in every form that it takes. Every single form that it takes, I'm against. I want to abolish it. I don't want to reform it. I don't want to give it more money because that will Biden and want to do. They see Trumpism in its elements because those elements, ICE, law enforcement, our police state, our U.S. imperialism, trickle-down economics, all those are forces of Trumpism that they just want to give more money and they want to shift from around. And that's how we got Trump in the first place. So you don't dislike Trump more than me. I dislike Trump more than you guys do. That's why I want to dismantle all the system that led to him. Now, what you had in your mind, Alex?
I'm with you. I think that's.
I think I interrupted you. I interrupted one of you guys.
You're good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that said, I think it was pretty good. I think we're about an hour and a half in now. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to bring up, Katie? Any issues that you want to bring awareness to before we sign off here?
No, I really like how you wrapped this up and ended it. Like, I think you touch upon something that's like, we talk about burning shit down. That means all of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we don't get to say, oh, well, this system that I'm not really involved in is fucked up. I hope it burns down. Like, even with me right now in my personal life, I'm looking at the music industry and I'm like, this is the world I work in. It is white, male dominated. It's problematic. It's toxic. Like, that too has to burn down. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just those systems that seem, that they're Trump inspired or Biden, all of this shit. And that means that some of us are going to get burnt in the process, especially as white allies right now. Like, we can't be scared of being burnt in the process, right? Like, we're going to leave this thing with some fucking scars.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That is okay. We can't be scared of getting dirty and we can't get scared of getting burnt. And anybody who's watching this, like, I'm saying this as much to you as I'm saying it to myself. Like, true allies are going to get in there and we're going to light some matches and we're going to get dirty.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can't be scared of it,
Preach. Yeah, I love that you said that. That's one hell of a send off because that's exactly what I'm all about. I talked to my friend Erica about
We're in this shit together, right?
We got some down ass white allies, and I definitely appreciate you guys. And this rainbow coalition that we're forming, it's gonna be like this movement. I always tell people I think we're gonna win. It's just all about when we're gonna win and the level and the intensity in which we win. And
we have to decide on what winning actually means.
Right.
Because there's people. How do I explain this? There's people that are okay with reform as long as it reforms enough. There's also people that want certain things. This kind of going on what you were saying, Katie. Certain things get burned down, but leave the rest. And then there's people like me that are just like, just fucking burn it all. Let's start over.
Yeah. So
we got to.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if you look at the demographics, you look at the way things are turning, we are winning the battle of ideas. We are losing the battle of power. We gotta we gotta start winning power. So at this point we are winning the battle of ideas and we gotta continue to have the conversation so we can push that dialogue, so we can continue to, for example, I always made this point before, a lot of liberals, they fear-mongered around defund the police when it first started because they said defund the police was radical, we didn't cause us to lose. And I remember the support for defund the police was around 20% or so. And then there was an article that came out a few weeks ago, which I remember the number, but that number doubled and literally in a few weeks. So they said, don't pick up defund the police. That might be too divisive. We can't do that. But in the meantime, while they were fear-mongering that, the support of defund the police, once again, I hope I'm not understanding this. It could have been a few weeks ago. It's not ready. But it was like support of that doubled since the original start of defund the police. So this is why I say we're gonna continue to win the idea. We gotta win power so we can implement our idea. So I definitely understand your mindset. My thing is that we gotta take all shots, whether it be through electoral power, through direct action, anything that we can do. We gotta take all our shots. So what's on your mind, Alex? What's on your mind, and then we can end it there.
I definitely agree. Like, we should use electoral politics for people that are actually decent, which there aren't many that are up for election.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that needs to happen is mutual aid networks and unions.
Yeah, that's a great
We
point.
cannot strike unless we have mutual aid and unions.
Yeah.
A general strike cannot happen. If you want a revolution that isn't, purely just armed, straight up warfare, the only way to do it is a general strike, and it's not going to happen unless we have these aid networks. Because, like we were talking about, people can't just, stop working.
Yeah, that's actually a great conversation I have. That's actually a great conversation I had with Shahid when I talked to Shahid Qatar. He told me I actually tweeted this out. I had a pen for a while. I told people you gotta focus on being offline. You can't just tweet everything that you're talking about. He said you gotta focus on local, and that's why I got in contact with Casey Tennants and Casey Sunrise around here, and that's why that's what you got to focus on at the end of the day. And we eventually gotta have you back on, Katie, because I know you have a lot of insights on you mentioned like a lot of the corruption in like the music business, and I know you got some personal stories, and I would love to pick your brain on that kind of stuff because I know you probably got stories on that for days. But for now, I'm gonna sign off, and we definitely can do this again. This is Katie Jayne Earl. I'm gonna have